Good morning, Patriots. I don't know if you heard the train going by just as I went live, but there it was. It's interesting having your office and your studio 20 feet from the railroad track sometimes. That's just the way it is, though. I'm from central Missouri, and this is just a side note, a little stall tactic as people get on. I'm from central Missouri and a little town called Sedalia. Now, there's John Wayne movies, there's Clint Eastwood movies, old westerns where they were doing cattle drives trying to get to Sedalia. It's because in the 1860s, Sedalia was the end of the line. The railroad track ended here. This was a big old cattle town back in those days. It was a wild, rough little town back in the 1860s. So I don't know. It's just an interesting little tidbit about where I'm from. And this railroad track right here has been there that long, and this town built up around the railroad. It exists because of the railroad. It's just an interesting little history. So, in fact, where my business is located in that time frame probably would have been huge cattle pens as they were sorting them out and getting ready to load them on the train. Just interesting the way times have changed. So moving right along. Anyways, I'm glad you all joined me. This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live from Central Missouri. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It was a beautiful weekend here in the Midwest. I hope it was where you were too, as we celebrated our risen Savior on Easter Sunday, which is actually Passover, sort of. I don't know. It depends on whose calendar you use. Anyways, there's a whole thing screwed up there. Moving right along, a whole bunch of stuff happening. Stuff's coming at you, and it's trying to shift and short and come up with a show that actually makes sense without. What's most important to talk about? It's insane what's going on, and from the ship over there that's still over there that they may or may not have rescued people off of. Some of you already know all that, and I don't have any definitive evidence of that. I have hearsay, so I'm not going to run with that. But there's evidence out there. Go listen to BB. He's talked about it. Some of the other folks have talked about it. But just because somebody told me doesn't mean that it's true. So I can't stand on that one. So I'll do what I can with what I know. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. We're facing war breaking out all over the world. We have economic disaster here in the United States. We have border disaster here in the United States. We're going to talk about some of that right now. And then we have, I don't know, some real cryptic messages from the president. And a lot of the stuff's posted on my Telegram page. So if you want to, there's so much stuff. I really can't cover it all. And I put a lot of it on that page. So if you want to go over there, that's the link right there. Download Telegram onto your phone or onto your computer and go to that link right there. I'll take you right to it. And Telegram is the place to be to gather information right now, at least till they start censoring over there, which they're not yet, but you never know. This is me on the YouTube. Follow me over on YouTube. For some reason, my subscriber numbers haven't changed. I have like 2,300, and that's where it stands. And I don't know why that is. My viewer numbers are going up. I think they're manipulating it. You know that YouTube is manipulating the likes and dislikes on videos. At least they are on the faux presidents, where they are taking away the dislikes, which are usually massively outperforming the likes. And they're talking about removing the dislike portion of it completely, which is kind of interesting. So also follow me on Rumble. Rumble is right now still free as far as them taking down videos and stuff. So all my videos are live streamed on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously, loaded onto Rumble and loaded onto Telegram. So there's other alternatives. If you can't find me, those are places to look for me. And let me tell you, you probably can't find me. I clicked on a friend of mine has been going live last few days talking about local politics. You've seen some of my interviews. I'll probably interview this guy tonight. He's local, and when it shows me that he's got a live video, but when I click on it, it won't let me go to it. I have to go to his page and search it out, which is probably what you have to do with me if that's happening to you. I got a hair in my face. So if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If this is the first time you ever see me, please subscribe, like, ring the bell, and comment. Let me know that you're watching, what you think. And if you're watching on Facebook, like, comment, and share this video. Please follow me. Just go over there and hit the follow button. You have to go to my page and do it. They don't no longer allow you to do it on the video most of the time. They're trying to prevent the spread of information, and that's intentional. So anyways, we'll get right to it. I hope you're having a great day. This is 8:38 a.m. on 4/5/2021. He is risen indeed. Spread the gospel, the good news. We're going to talk a little bit about that. There's some news there's some stuff happened over the weekend as regard to that. But we're going to talk about the border right now. I found this series of posts on Twitter, and I found it quite interesting. The way this guy put it together. I've been following him for a little while, and that's Warrior333 on Twitter. And he says, this was on Friday evening or Saturday morning. I was going to do a video on Saturday, but I got busy it's that time of year where I get to go to auctions, estate sales, stuff like that, and do some snagging, as a friend of mine says, looking for gold. So there's some gold available, and I got to buy it. Anyways, moving on. Get a chance to buy gold or silver, I suggest you do it. What I'm going to say is blunt, graphic, and you may need nausea meds. Hold on a second. I forgot. Make sure you got yourself a nice warm cup of coffee or whatever it is you drink in the morning. Ooh, that was a strong one. I needed to wet my whistle before I got into that. You may need nausea medicine. Here we go. But it is the truth and must be told. You have to know your enemies if you stand a chance of winning the war. And we are at war. This is a reality check, 100% facts. Senator Cruz, in an interview on Newsmax last week, said this: Mexican drug cartel members will put a gun to an illegal alien child's head that they are smuggling into the U.S., and they will force that child to cut the fingers and ears off other children. They send the fingers and ears back to the parents, demanding more money to smuggle the kids. Laura Logan, renowned reporter, stated in an interview last night on Fox News, this would have been Thursday or Friday last week, drug cartel members will torture a person, cut out their heart while the person is still alive, and eat their heart in front of them, laughing at them. Mexican human traffickers broke the leg of a mother they were smuggling into the U.S. and kicked her out of the raft after being spotted by CBP, that's the Border Patrol, on the Rio Grande River. They then threw her 6-month-old baby into the river to divert the CBT's attention away from them. Our CBT saved the baby and its mother. Two child traffickers, sorry about the phone ringing, I forgot to take it off the hook. Two child traffickers dropped over a 14-foot border fence, sibling ages 3 and 5 years old, into America. So a lot of you have seen that video, is on the news. Our CBT, they were alone in the desert. Our CBT saw it on camera and rescued the children. All girls 10 years age and older are pregnancy checked by the CBT when they pick them up. As young as 12 years old are testing positive. Most of these young boys, girls, and women are gang raped before they get here. Birth control is found in the young girls' backpacks. You must realize the vile subhumans are crossing our border every day. Not talking about the kids, we're talking about the escorts. The cartel members are ecstatic. They're back in business thanks to the Biden-Harris administration, or Harris-Biden administration as they call it. It is estimated they're making $14 to $20 million per day, mainly from child and human trafficking. In February, in the Rio Grande sector, CBP estimated that 40,000 illegal aliens escaped into America that they couldn't catch. These are the ones we really need to worry about. This isn't about a surge of unoccupied minors at our border. This is a planned invasion to destroy our sovereignty and nation. These are truly sick, evil, non-humans that are invading our country, not a bunch of poor kids. Come on, switch. We have to raise up and demand our borders be protected now. Every port of entry must be closed immediately. It is the duty of our military to protect our borders. If we can't, won't, if they can't or won't, The Constitution says armed civilians must do it. Start making noise and don't shut up until our border is once again protected. This is asymmetrical warfare. By the way, the CCP has merged with the Mexican cartels and is helping fund the caravans and the cartels' business ventures. Now, when it comes to that last statement, I have a friend I was talking to over the weekend. We were talking about this particular subject over the weekend, and he informed me that he knows for sure, and this person is active duty military, been in the military a long time. I won't say where or how or why. He's not one of, I don't have any connections with the 17 stuff or anything like that. This is just a guy I know. I know a lot of people in the military. I was in the military, hang around people who used to be in the military, hang around people that are still in the military. So I know some folks, okay? He told me that he has seen it with his own eyes and been given intel that the Chinese are smuggling through the border Chinese with the support of the U.S. government. They're loading them up in buses and they're taking them all over the country. These are fighting age males. There's important. See, somebody my age would not be considered fighting age because warfare is for the young man. They're for the 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. Because when you get to be my age, someone says go over the hill. We tell you in no uncertain terms, we're not going to do that. It's just, yeah. Anyways, moving on. So he's saying fighting age people, men of Chinese fighting age men are being smuggled into this country. Now here's a video of what he's talking about. Maybe this is some guy listening to 60s music in his car while he's watching Mexicans and whatnot jumping out of a container van in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of ironic, beach baby, right? But there you go. Where are they going? What are they doing? Who's feeding them? Who's taking care of them as they enter our country illegally? This is happening all over our country right now. This was happening before Donald Trump became president also. And now it's happening again. He kind of shut most of that down. And the drug cartels are making a massive amount of money. They're let me exit out of this. They're really making a ton of money doing this. And that's really what this is all about. I got some more stuff I want to get to. We're going to talk about what's happening around the world. But I do want to talk a little bit about what came out over the weekend from General Flynn and from Sidney Powell, whatever her name is. And so let me just load this up real quick. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at this video. It's not very long. And all this stuff can be found on my Telegram page too.
Politician, anybody that you hear talk about this person's running for in 2024 or that person's running in 2024, all these politicians who think that they're going to run for president in 2024, forget about it. If they're talking like that, that means that they are not talking about this fraudulent election that we just had that'll probably get your show canned off of YouTube for me saying it. We know it was fraudulent. We know that there was massive foreign interference. We have a number of countries, but the principal country that interfered in this election was China. And China is all over the geographic map of the United States of America. And the Chinese, they know this. And they don't like me talking about it because they know I know. And I will tell you something, one last thing, and I'll get off my soapbox. Faith is the foundation of our country. Our faith in God is the foundation of our country. If there was one thing that my wife and I learned over the last 4 years when we were in the toughest moments, was there was one entity or one place that we could go to, and that was to internally to our readings and to ourselves, and to really pray to God, because there was some dark moments that we faced. And I will tell you, dark moments that were put on me by our own government after I served almost 3.5 decades fighting for this country. I mean, it's just incredible. It's incredible.
So General Flynn was if he hadn't been pardoned by the president, he would probably be in jail today on trumped up charges. And the reason is because he knows where the bodies are buried, so to speak. And that's why they went after him. They went after him to shut him down. They went after him to tell him, keep him from telling the truth, keep him from speaking out. That's what it was all about. I got one more video. I got to scroll down to it. So just give me a second here while I get to it. It's way down. I got so much information on this Telegram. I'm blowing by so much stuff that you probably need to know about. I just can't. I just don't have time. Just don't have time to bring it all up. But I do want to bring, this is an interview of Sidney Powell the other day by Dinesh D'Souza, and this is just a clip of it, just a little bit. I just want you to, there's a couple of clips actually on my Telegram, and I'm not going to put them all on here. So, like I said, you got to go to the Telegram. You got to get Telegram. If you don't have Telegram, you got to get it. So listen to this
question, and that is, we now have what we thought was a 6-3 majority on a Republican Supreme Court. How did the Supreme Court sort of go Pontius Pilate on us and wash its hands off this matter?
We have witnessed the complete institutional failure of every arm of government and every law enforcement institution in this country to enforce the rule of law, Dinesh. It is that stunning and that heartbreaking. Why they did that, I don't know. I do know that the Communist Party has bought a number of people. It has threatened a number of people. It has blackmailed a number of people. In fact, there's a YouTube video of a Chinese professor talking recently about how they controlled virtually everyone in DC except President Trump. And now he's gone. George Soros does have a huge role in all of this. The organizations he funds and has been funding for a long time have played a substantial role in all of this. We are under attack. We have been under attack since the Chinese flu virus was released, if not before. And it simply converted into a significant cyber attack. And this whole plan to destroy the United States and take control of it and just render it another global entity or vessel state of China almost, if not completely.
Kim Clement said, there is a nation itching for a new kind of war, asymmetrical warfare. Look that term up. That was what the author of that Twitter post said, asymmetrical warfare. It is not conventional. Well, they know, everybody on the planet knows that if they attacked us straight up one-on-one, they'd lose. And they would lose bigly. That our military would devastate a military in a one-on-one fight. They know this. So they devised another plan. They're itching for a new kind of war. That's what Kim Clement said. They will come suddenly, he said. With the CV, starting last year, 14 days to stop the spread and all that stuff, to 365 plus days, and here we are. Now we have a border crisis that's out of hand. We have masses of people that are coming across the border, including Chinese nationals. We have Chinese on the border on both sides, north and south. That's been known. 350,000, 400,000 troops between Canada and Mexico. We have a world that was relatively at peace and is now bubbling up all over the world. We have the possibility of very shortly entering a world war. And I'm about to get into that and talk to you about what's happening right now all around the world. Things are all, they for 4 years, for 5 years, we heard about how Donald Trump was going to create a world war, how we were all going to go to war. We were all going to die because of this man doesn't know what he's doing. We're all going to die. It ain't been 3 months yet of this current faux administration, and the world is falling apart right now. This says, this is from This is from the Russian news site. It says, an interview with political scientists uh, uh, broadcast on national television, Moscow's top diplomat said Russia had long supported a worldwide trend that everyone wants to get rid of racism. We are pioneers in the movement of promoting equal rights of people of any skin color, he said. But he stressed it was important not to switch to other extremes, which we saw during the BLM events. See, other extremes, which we saw during the BLM events, Black Lives Matter events. And I hope that this ain't echoing too bad, because I can hear echoing in my ear. It's Lavrov accused the United States of seeking to spread what he called a cultural revolution around the world. They have colossal possibilities for it, he said in an interview. Hollywood is now also changing the rules so that everything reflects the diversity of modern society, he said, calling that a form of censorship. I've seen Black people play in Shakespeare comedies, only I don't know when there will be a white Othello, he says. You see, this is absurd. Political correctness has taken the point of absurdity. Will it not? It will not end well. So this is Russia. Russia, some of that's translated, so it doesn't come out right. This is Russia taking to task the United States for the Black Lives Matter, for the Black liberation theology, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. But I just wanted to bring that up there because I'm confused, okay? I'm going to show you what I'm confused about. So we have this. Russia could trigger World War III within months. Military analyst claims. A Russian military analyst, Pavel, whatever, that guy's name right there, you see it, has warned WW3 could be sparked by rising tensions between Russia and Ukraine, and things could really kick off in early May. So what is he talking about? Well, let's just read the headlines. Breaking. NATO troop and equipment movement is wrapped up to Moldova, the neighboring country with Ukraine. Breaking. The militia of LPR announced the Ukrainian artillery with howitzers, 122 millimeter D-30s, have been deployed in the area of Trotsky settlement near the contact line of Donbass, or Dumbass, I don't know, Donbass, whatever it is. Reminds me of that commercial. Yes, Mr. Dumbass. I mean, anyways, moving on. Breaking. U.S. and European mercenaries are signing up in huge numbers in neo-Nazi volunteer battalions in Ukraine positions on the front lines of Donbass. Neo-Nazis are with the Ukrainians? What's going on here? I thought the Ukrainians were the good guys and the Russians. When they see, in 1991, it was, when I was in the military, it was simpler times. We know the Soviet Russia was bad and NATO was good. But here we have neo-Nazis teaming up with the Ukrainians. And we have all this troop movement. The chance of Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, or however you say his name, to resolve the conflict with DPR and LPR has been long gone. Federation Council Vice Speaker Konstantin, whatever. These Russian guys. I need some Russian interpreters help me with these names. The situation at the contact line in Ukraine has worsened far beyond repair. Major General Ruslan Yukudov, however you say his name, head of DPR representative office. Now, here's some more. Moscow has cut all contacts with Ukraine, Germany, France, UK, and the US regarding the situation in Donbass. Have you seen this in the news? Do you understand what that means, right? That's huge, but not as huge as the next statement. This comes after Russia, numerous attempts to contact Germany and France, and the refusal to arrange a meeting for the entire month. What in the tarnation is going on? So we now have the major governments, top militaries in the world have now cut off contact with each other. You should be scared. This isn't good. Istanbul. Turkey and Ukraine signed a military cooperation agreement in Istanbul Friday, deepening a defense partnership seen as an effort to counterbalance Russia's dominance in the Black Sea region. But Turkey's not a good guy. They're an Islamic state. Yeah, they're NATO. They're part of NATO, but they're not been good here lately. In fact, they've been closer to bad. I didn't put it in here, but Poland has signed a defense pact with some of the Eastern European countries around them, Czechoslovakia, Lithuania, and those countries. There's something going on, folks. And the media in this country, we're going to be shocked when war breaks out, massive war, and we won't know. So what's going on here? What's going on? So what are we talking about? So let's just take a look. So this is Ukraine. The bottom one shows Ukraine. The top one shows you where it is. And the little red dot or the little green dot there shows the Luhansk's People Republic in Ukraine. So what is that all about? Here's another picture, kind of see how it's going. You got Russia on one side, Ukraine on the other. Got kind of a demilitarization zone. Not really. Just a zone where they're not supposed to have artillery. Is what that is, basically. Just kind of see what's going on here, okay? It's basically a civil war. All right? So, here it is. The Luhansk's People's Republic, alternatively spelled L-U-G instead of L-U-H. There it is in Russian, whatever. Usually abbreviated LPR, LNR, is a landlocked proto-state. It is located in Luhansk Oblast, or Donbass region, a territory internationally recognized to be part of Ukraine. Ukraine says that the Luhansk People's Republic is a terrorist organization and that it wages war against Ukraine. Luhansk is the capital and biggest city. The population is approximately 1.5 million people. It is a constitution. In its constitution, LPR is proclaimed to be a democratic constitutional state. But I thought we liked democratic constitutional states, but now we don't like democratic constitutional states. So I don't know. I don't know who the good guy or who the bad guy is in this situation. This is some vital statistics, if you care. I'm not going to get into all that. It says the LPR declared independence from Ukraine in the aftermath of the 2014 Ukrainian Revolution, along with Donetsk's People's Republic and the Republic of Crimea. An ongoing armed conflict with Ukraine has followed its declaration of independence. The LPR and DPR received humanitarian, golly gee willikers, Bob, having a Biden moment, assistance from Russia. According to NATO and Ukraine, Russia has also provided military aid to the rebels, a claim Russia denies. But who do you believe? Here's some more information on it. Ukraine legislation describes the LPR as a temporary occupied territory. The government LPR is described as an occupying administration from the Russian Federation. In September 2014, the Minsk agreement signed by representatives of OSCE, Ukraine, and Russia, and by heads of the LNR and DNR, without recognizing any status for them, was meant to stop the conflict and reintegrate rebel-held territory in Ukraine, but in exchange for more autonomy in the area, blah, blah, blah. LPR remains unrecognized by the UN, including Russia, although Russia recognized documents issued by the LPR government, such as identity documents, diplomats, birth and marriage certificate, and vehicle registration, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so that's kind of what's going on over there. There's a long-going civil war with sides. We've been backing the Ukraine. The Russians have been backing the LPR, and which is good, which is bad, which is right, which is wrong. I used to know that. I used to say, well, Ukrainians are good, right? We got a bunch of Ukrainians in our neighbors. They're all, Christians and stuff. And Russians bad, right? Isn't that the way it's supposed to be? But I have to ask about why they're aligning with Turkey. What's this all about? What's with the? I can't find it now. I didn't just put this one. North Atlantic Council held an urgent meeting today over Russian military movement to the Ukrainian border, and Biden has ordered the Pentagon to start moving Patriot anti-missile systems and other military hardware and forces from the Persian Gulf region and could deploy them elsewhere to counter Russia and China. China right now is massive forces on the border of Burma. Myanmar, the one that just overthrew their government, the military just overthrew their government because the government had been using Dominion systems and stole their elections. So they said that they need to remove the fraudulent administration and hold new elections. China is massing on their border right now in order to protect the pipeline, they said. No, because the government that had won through the Dominion system was a puppet government of China. So what's going on? Who's winning? Who's losing? What's this war all? There's a lot of unanswered questions here that I don't really have the answers to. I don't know what to say about that. I do know that there are massive amounts of troop movements all over. I do know that that several aircraft carrier battle group. I do know that supposedly American and Russian forces were working together in an operation with that Evergreen ship. Supposedly, maybe. I don't have an answer to these questions. I don't have an answer. I don't trust what we're being told. I don't think I know who the good guys are. Because we're not dealing with Republican or Democrat, left or right, socialism, communism, capitalism. We're not dealing with West and East. We're dealing with deep state, worldwide, deep state, and patriots. So who's the patriots? Who's this war about? What's this war about? Why are we fighting? Why are they doing that? I guess we'll find out soon enough. Moving right along. So I got one more thing I'd like to talk about. Bottom one first. So Reverend Raphael Warnock, I call him Warlock for short, that is the new congressman or new senator that just got elected in Georgia. He also preaches at the church that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. used to preach at. So, he's a Christian, right? He's a good Christian because he preaches at a church that has lots of Christian history. Yeah, but this is what he said. The meaning of Easter is more transcendent than the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Whether you are a Christian or not, though a commitment to help others, through a commitment to help others, to helping others, we are able to save ourselves. Have you ever blown the dust off the Bible, Mr. Warlock? And I do say Warlock on purpose. So Ellie Beth Stuckey is, I believe she's on the Blaze. I think I've heard her a couple times. She's really good. I logged on here specifically to respond to this absolutely insane, albeit unsurprising tweet from the narcissist heretic Raphael Warlock. And I do say Warlock on purpose. First of all, when a millennial says, or younger, says, first of all, there's something coming, right? So here we go. There's nothing more transcendent, golly gee, that's all, folks, than a resurrection of the God-man Jesus. Literally, his resurrection transcends our finite conceptions of what science and rationality. that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, then was slain for our sins, only to conquer death 3 days later. The Reverend thinks Easter is bigger than Jesus' resurrection because he doesn't care about nor believe in its significance. As an advocate of liberation theology, that's, if you guys remember, that Barack Obama used to go to a church in Chicago that taught Black liberation theology. And that's where the pastor said, GD America, your chickens have come home to roost from the pulpit. He said vile things about this country and about Jesus and about everything else, like liberation theology. And that's what she's talking about here. An advocate of liberation theology, he views Jesus as an example of political activism and not king and conqueror of sin and death. Second, he fails to support his claims that the meaning of Easter is about helping others, or that idea is somewhat more transcendent than the creator sustainer of the universe bearing our sins and obliterating them, plus their consequences, death forever and ever. But people who know a bit about this theology understand that this is a progressive Christianity. Jesus Christianity is a means to their political and social activist ends, which they like to categorize as helping others. What they typically mean is government programs. Warlock, and I say that on purpose, Christianity is that of social justice moralism, wherein Jesus is a mascot for left-wing causes and beliefs, and righteousness is earned via wokeness. It is the same view as Abraham X. Kendi. Jesus is not a savior, but a liberator, and not of sin, but of systems. Kendi said in a recorded talk posted on Twitter recently that while Jesus is not a savior, but a activism, whatever, is. It can literally save humanity, or anti-racism. I'm sorry, I don't know why I cannot read today or talk. Maybe I need to drink more coffee. So Jesus is not a savior, but anti-racism is. So Jesus is not your savior, anti-racism is. It could literally save humanity. He said, here Warlock says, we can save ourselves. Same concept by these two libertarian theology advocates. We are our own gods. Like every false teaching, from the prosperity gospel to the social gospel to the exchange of God of Scripture for God of self. This is not new. Humans have indulged in self-idolatry since the beginning of time. It always ends in destruction of both here and eternity. Run hard and fast from any semblance of this kind of heresy. You cannot save yourself. No amount of good work, and certainly no government program, will do it. That God sent his own son to die on your behalf shows us just how utterly incapable we are of saving ourselves. For by the grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing. It is a gift of God, not a result of works, so that no man knows. Good news. God draws near through Christ by grace, through faith. He gets all the glory. He alone can save. So here is, just scrolling through this on Twitter, I was like, wow, that's awesome. Woo. So, I do believe absolutely that Warlock, and I said that intentionally, said that because he's a Black liberation theology, and that's what they're about. They're about Marxism, not Christianity. In fact, they know more Christian than Osama bin Laden was Christian. That's just the facts of it. But here's some of the rebuttals to this post. And I just want to read it, and then I'm going to rebuttal the rebuttals. So it says, he is a better Christian than you could ever hope to be. He is saying that everyone should try to be good person. No one is good. No, not one. But you would rather feel like you're part of a special group. You saved folk are special. No, we're not. We're just saved. That's it. That's the only difference. Then be a good person. Well, you can't be a good person. No one can. So there you go. And then this one. This is always the one we jump to. Always, always, always. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. That's not what Matthew 7 says, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Provided badly needed words of encouragement and inclusivity. Inclusivity, we're all one, and we can all, collective salvation. I heard him say that we all can benefit from the teachings and resurrection of Christ, whether we are believers or not. No, only the believers benefit. Because if you don't accept that Jesus Christ is Lord, that he died on the cross for your salvation, you're not going to benefit from that salvation if you don't accept it. Because he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but by me. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Don't get your panties in a wad, is what. Then this rebuttal. This rebuttal basically says Jesus was a socialist. I've heard this many, many times, and I've got an answer to this one. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. My command is that you love each other as I have loved you. But how has he loved us? What should we do then? The crowd asked. John answered, anyone who has 2 shirts should share. But this is called taking the Bible out of context to fit your political narrative. Because I'm going to prove something that maybe you don't want to hear. First off, let's rebut this one. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. He says, to take it out of context, let's read the whole thing. Do not judge, or you will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And when you measure, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How could you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when at the same time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you can see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. It didn't say not to judge there. It said first take care of yourself, then take care of your brother. Do not judge. Let me not go further. Let me back up. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. In the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the same measure you use, you will measure. So once you take the plank out of your eye, go take the speck out of your brother's eye. So once you take the plank out of your eye, go judge your brother and say, dude, you got a speck in your eye. Let me help you with that. That's what that says. And then you will be, see, once you've cleaned up your own act, you can go help your brother clean up his act. That's what that says. But let's take it out of context so that don't judge me as I sin because I want to live in my sin. Don't judge me. That's what that says. And then it says, when somebody says, don't judge me with your sin, I live in my sin, it says this. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to the pigs. Or 2 pigs. If you do, they will trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. So, when you take the plank out of your eye, get your act together, you go to your brother and say, dude, you got a speck in your eye, and they say, don't judge me, I'm going to stay in my sin. Then you follow this part down at the bottom that says, don't give dogs what is sacred. Taking it in context, it has a different meaning. Isn't that amazing? So let me answer this guy's one right here. He says that Jesus was a socialist. And this is the verses he used to say that. He didn't say that straight out, but that's what he means by this. I've heard this a zillion times. So my answer to all you all that say Jesus was a socialist is I say Jesus was a capitalist, because I can take verses out of context and prove that Jesus was a capitalist. How do you do that? So take a bag of gold. Oh, well, where is it at? I stopped in the wrong one. Oh, my goodness. I got it out of order. Where is that? Okay. I got this all out of order, so hopefully I can get this right. Let's see here. It's 14. 19, 21. I got it backwards. 28. All right, that's what I did. I loaded it backwards. All right, okay, we're good. Sorry. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one, he gave 5 bags of gold. Now, if your translation says talents, I'd use this translation just to make my point, because I got to take it out of context and make my point. To one, he gave 5 bags of gold. To the other, he gave 2 bags of gold. To another, he gave 1 bag of gold. Each according to his ability. Each according to his ability. From each according to his ability. To each according to his means. Boy, that sure sounds like he's a socialist, a communist, doesn't it? But let's continue to read. Each according to his ability. When he went on his journey, the man who had received 5 bags of gold went out at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more bags. 5 bags more. So also, the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. It wasn't his money to begin with. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled the accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, and I will put you in charge of many things. Come share your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrust me with 2 bags of gold, and see, I've gained 2 more. The master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, and I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share in your master's happiness. Then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you were a hard man, harvesting where you haven't sown, you greedy, evil corporatist, and gathered where you haven't scattered seed. How come all the rich get the breaks and the poor guys get nothing? So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here's what belongs to you. The master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. That doesn't sound like a socialist. You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown, and I gather where I have not scattered seed. Well, then, you should have put the money in deposit with the banker so that when I returned, I would have received back with interest. So take the bag of gold from him and from the poor guy. Take the bag of gold from the guy that only has a bag of gold. The poor guy, the one that doesn't have anything, take the bag from him and give it to the one that has 10 bags. Well, what? 10 bags? That's the rich. You take the bag from the poor and give it to the rich? I told you he was a capitalist. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have abundance. And whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them? This sounds like a Republican. And throw that worthless servant outside in darkness where he will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That don't sound like socialism, does it? See, I told you, Jesus was a capitalist, right? No. Not at all. That's taking that out of context again. But I use that to counteract this. Really what you have here is a heart condition. You see, you had a guy who was entrusted with 5 bags, and he said, my master's given me 5 bags, and I want to do a good job for my master. So he went out and he risked it, he put it to work, and he doubled his money. He went back to his master and said, here's your bags and 10 more. And he said, good job. And the other one was entrusted with 2 because it was based on their skill set, see? And he doubled them and gave them back to God. The last one went and hid it in the ground because he was scared, because he was fearful, because he was envious, because his boss, my boss, he drives the big car, lives in a big house, and I have to do all the work, and it's not fair. Why can't I have what he has? He's envious. He's greedy. His heart condition was wrong. So the master took him and threw him out, took what he had, and gave it to the guy who had 10 because his heart condition was right. See, God's not a capitalist. Jesus isn't a capitalist or a socialist or a Republican or a Democrat or a Marxist or any of those things. Jesus is well above that. He's bigger than all of it. He doesn't care who you are, what your politics are, what your skin color is, whether you're stinking, filthy, miserably rich or gutter poor. It's your heart condition that he's concerned about. See, when you take the Bible out of context, it's when you start getting into problems like Mr. Warlock does. God doesn't care about your politics, not in the church. I mean, he does care about politics because he cares about human condition, and some politics leads to better human conditions than other politics. But he doesn't care about that. If you're looking at your boss going, that jerk, he gets to have this and he gets to have that and I don't, then you're the least of that. You're the guy with one bag. But if you get up every day and you do what Dr. Martin Luther King said, he said that you sweep the streets as if the whole heavens and angels, and I'm paraphrasing, is watching you. You become the best street sweeper ever. Wherever God has placed you, you do that to your utmost best, whatever that is. In the street, it's a street sweeper, you'd be the best street sweeper. That's what Martin Luther King said. Who used to be at the same church as this jerk, Warlock. And I do say Warlock on purpose. It's a heart condition problem, my friends. We are at a pinnacle. Things are happening all over the place. Things are really building up. And I don't have an answer for it. I don't understand all the stuff that's happening in the military around the world. I don't understand excuse me, everything that's happening with this boat, everything else. The border, the passports for your V's, can't say the word, and and the coronis. We are, everything's coming to a head this week, next week, whenever it is. You shall have joy in the springtime. Something bound to happen. God's on the move. Revival is happening. It's breaking out all over the world. Be prepared. And if you don't know him and you want to know, I hadn't heard that perspective before, ask. The Bible says, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be open to you. Ask. Ask on the feed here. Somebody there will answer your questions, I'm sure. Send me a private message. I'll answer it. I'll try. I don't always get to them all, but I'll try. And if I can't find the answer, I'll find you it. You see, I'd hate to be this Warlock's shoes. You see, because he thinks it's collective salvation. He thinks your salvation can be worked out with works by doing what, the government programs say to do, because God is his government, or government is his God. But it's given unto man who wants to die, and at some point he will die, and he will stand before the God of the universe, the one who spoke it into existence. And the God of the universe will look at him, and he'll look over at his son, and his son will flip through the book of life. And he'll look up at his father and say, I never knew him. If you deny me before man, I will deny you before the Father. And God will look down at him and say, depart from me, you worker of iniquity. And two big, huge angels will grab him by the arms and drag him off to where there'll be burning and gnashing of teeth. It doesn't sound like a good time. Only thing I look forward to is that through the grace of Christ, through his death and resurrection, that a wretch like me, who once was lost and blind, but now I see, have the hope that when Jesus is flipping through that book, it'll say Michael A. Cook. And he'll look up at his father and say, I know this one. And he'll say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Enter into joy today. That's all I hope for. I hope you understand that hope. You guys have a great day. I'm going to jump off here. It's almost time. I got like 2 minutes to open my doors. You guys, I'm going to download this video. It's going to be uploaded onto Rumble and onto Telegram. Go over to Telegram. That's where there's so much information coming. And I put it on the Telegram. I just can't get to it all. I just can't do it. So that's my Telegram link, YouTube link, and Rumble. Check it out. You guys have a great day. Talk to y'all later.